It's going to be a little bit negative this week, big guy, because there weren't a lot of great things that happened on Monday night for the Packers. What were your overall thoughts after watching the game, seeing what happened, and seeing some of the mistakes that we were kind of hopeful were left behind them kind of creep back up again against the Giants?
Kind of thought it would play out the way it did. It's, hard for young guys to play a Monday night game on the East Coast because they're sitting in the hotel all day long. It sounds janky, but there is a way to approach it because if you watch this team and you watch this game, my belief is they weren't ready to play as a whole. You cannot turn the switch on and off when you're into a game. I went through it one time in Philadelphia where I wasn't prepared to play the game, played like crap. You can't flip a switch and all say, okay, I'm in the right headspace. Doesn't work that way. That's something they have to learn from and hopefully do a better job next time.
All right, let's start and take a look at some of the plays. Now, this is going to be a little bit different because we're going to take a look at some defensive plays here today as well, late because we want to see what that was all about, what exactly was happening, to the Packers as we got later in the game. But I want to start with this interception, the interception that Jordan Love threw, because it seemed just so inexplicable. And if you can explain what exactly happened here as Jordan Love threw, he was taking care of the football during the winning streak, obviously did not with 2 turnovers against the Giants on Monday, but here's the interception he threw. It came once again on a deep ball.
The one thing I'll talk about that I don't like, Gabe, in LaFleur's offense is you see how they're not maximizing the whole field. Everything seems to be condensed inside the numbers. And I really don't know why he does that because especially with a young team, their aiming points, they have to get to them at times instead of just lining up in them. So I don't know. I just like to see him use the entire field, have guys outside the numbers, have guys 5 yards from the sideline just to change it up a little bit. But with that being said, let's go to this play. If you could rewind it one more time. So you have motion here. I mean, it's a stutter go, and I believe that's Wicks. Number one,
Yeah.
his stutter go is way too involved. He slows down way too much. Now, a stutter go is just a little stutter. See, he had him, game. If you watch the defensive back's feet, watch the DB's feet here. The goal of a receiver in a stutter go is to get the DB to stop his feet, which he does here, but he slows his route down way too much. You see the defender's feet?
Mm-hmm.
He has him beat, but he stops his feet as well. Can't do that. His stutter go is too involved in the stutter. It's way too much stutter. And the ball's underthrown. I mean, it's just a bad throw by Jordan. I can't tell if this was the number 1 read. He's clearly looking left all the way.
I mean, it's just never there, Chew, with that safety right there.
Gabe, we used to run this play. All that is 72X shallow cross, where you have a man over the ball and a shallow cross underneath. It's a route that can beat man and zone, but they must have saw something because they added the stutter go to the outside of it, normally where that's just a go route. But, I mean, the DB's feet was stopped. He just stuttered way too much, and that's why he had the interception.
Well, I just don't – I mean, that safety's on that side of the field. He starts on that hash. That safety doesn't have to ever go anywhere, Chew.
The throw is really to Dobbs over the ball. If you look.
Yeah, so Dobbs is down there.
Watch Dobbs right here, right there. It's man, bang. But that's just a bad route by – you know what we call that back in the day? Dobbs did the whirly bird because he's supposed to put his outside foot down and come to the ball. And we saw him or one of the players do that about 4 or 5 games ago where the route's perfectly. Watch the whirly bird at the top of the route. He turns the wrong way. See how he turned? That's the whirly bird. Like, why are you whirly birding? No, that play was a train wreck from the beginning.
So a tough one there, but this is one of the positive plays because Tucker Kraft, with the absence and the snaps that he has now gotten after Luke Musgrave went down, he's been kind of a bright spot here at tight end, Chew, and I think he's developing faster than maybe we thought he would. And he had one of the bigger plays for the Packers heading into this game, or after this game was all said and done. Just a great catch and run over the middle of the field here.
This is going to be a great asset for them in years to come, where they have two tight ends that are pretty much interchangeable, because it's going to come to the point where we had, back in the day when we had me and Keith Jackson. What do you do against two tight ends? Do you bring in nickel or do you stay with Biggs? So that's going to be a great asset for them. Let's run this back one more time. The fact that he's taking. Okay, so this would be just. It's a weird defense. It looked to begin with like cover 5, where cover 5 is man underneath with the safety buzzing weak that you see here. Tucker Kraft does a nice job, but Gabe, let me test you on this. What's the one coaching point that I've been harping on with receivers and especially tight ends in the previous game?
So I noticed it right on the first time I played it. So he's running. There's the shoulders.
Look at how it slows him down.
Yep, the shoulders are just way too open.
Just turn your head, and that's just a coaching point, because when you turn your shoulders, you lose so much speed down the middle of the field. Now, Jordan throws this way too late. Way too late. If you look, I don't know if there's a tight copy, Gabe.
Yep, we can get. It'll be coming up here.
Take a look at the tight copy. Take a look when Jordan should have uncorked this thing. Just watch the tight end in Jordan. Okay.
There.
Now.
There.
Now. Now. Too late. That should be on a rope to him to keep the far side safety off of him. And if he gets him the ball when he should, right now, I mean, he might score. Or it's certainly going to be a longer game, but once again, great play, turns out to be a huge positive in the game. But if I'm grading that, Gabe, I'm giving it a 0. Okay. Turned out good. You wound up where you should, but improper technique.
Yeah, the improper technique.
I'd say the same for Jordan. That thing's got to be out of there quicker.
Yeah, he just,
right now.
And you see, there's almost, I don't know if, Malik Heath starts tracking that thing at the end. I didn't notice that at first. So I don't know if he thought that was potentially going to him and then realized it would have been over his head, because the spacing just kind of seems off because he doesn't throw it on time at the end of this thing. See, because there's Malik Heath going, oh, maybe that's to me, and ends up being to Kraft.
But a year from now or 2 years from now, because they're young, hopefully they figure it out, and that's even a bigger play than what it turned out to be.
So the next one we're going to take a look at here is the 2-point conversion. And Matt LaFleur even said after the game that this was just a bad play, because they went to the handed off to Jaden Reed way too many times. And granted, this wasn't a jet sweep, Chew, but it ends up just kind of being a doomed play.
Yeah. It's just another version of running the jet sweep. And I kind of get it. LaFleur, my guess is he kind of panicked right here because he was up against it. But with a 2-point conversion, typically on a call sheet, right? The sheet that he has, it's all sectioned out to red zone, 3rd and long, 3rd and short, 3rd and medium. This being on his call sheet as his 2-point conversion, the best that they got, especially after they've already run versions of this, that's on him. It's not a very good call. Because when you use Jaden Reed, they got to be quick hitters. This isn't a quick hitter, right?
No, this is a long developing run.
Play. So let's look at the blocking scheme here. It should be down. 51 gets too much penetration. I know that's the receiver blocking a linebacker, but he's got to get his head across him to stop his penetration, It's just a slow developing play. Holmgren always said, and I tell my oldest son, who's a coach, Holmgren would always say, one thing you never do is pull goal line, which they don't
Yeah.
really do here, but it's just, I don't know. I just think it was a bad call by LaFleur. It was doomed from the start, and you got to have a better 2-point conversion than that. Because could you imagine running that play to win the game?
No, no.
It's just not a good call.
It's just, yeah, like you said, it's too long developing. I'd like to see something quicker, something quick hitting, because
Yeah.
that's probably when those holes open up, and it's just
My
from the start.
philosophy on the goal on the running a 2-point conversion is always give yourself outs or options. If you're going to sprint, always give yourself options. The option would be quarterback can run or throw the ball. That you're pigeonholed into doing one thing, and it's just like I said, it's a bad call.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah, you can't. I don't know how you would even go about checking out of that play
No.
if you were Jordan Love. So the last thing I want to do with you here, big guy, is kind of go over what the hell the Packers defense was doing at the end of the game.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we can kind of rapid fire through these first 3 plays because or the first 4 plays. It just happens in such rapid succession of the Giants moving the ball down the field. And you can kind of see here right away where on the bottom of the screen they're playing tight, but on the top of the screen you just see all that cushion. And the one thing I always think about with 2-minute drills, Chew, is
Mm-hmm.
I heard Aaron Rodgers talk about it, and I'm sure coaches talked about it to you as well. Aaron Rodgers would always talk about in a 2-minute drill how important that first play was. Like,
Yeah.
even if it was just for 5 or 6 yards, because then it gets you going in the right direction, kind of starts getting you in a rhythm. And that's what happens here. They just kind of give away. Keyshawn Nixon in the slot gives away 5 free yards here.
Well, we talked about this yesterday on the morning show, Gabe, on how, defensive backs have the discretion to disguise coverages, which is they're doing here because they're showing a cover 2 look, right?
Yep.
And then they're coming actually
That's Savage who comes in to make the stop.
That's just man free with a single safety. But the problem here is whoever was covering, is that Keyshawn Nixon?
So Nixon's here. That's Savage. Savage ends up making the tackle on Robinson here.
Well, here's the problem, Gabe. So Savage is already determined. He's already shown that they're going to a man free. So close the space. See right here, that receiver knows it's no longer cover 2, or he has a good chance that he knows it's not cover 2. So he's got to. If I'm him, you got to close the gap. You got to close the gap. That's just too much gap.
So that's the first play, and then they give up the first down on the very next play with a little, kind of again a lot of cushion on the outside here when all the Giants need is a field goal, and they end up checking down to Saquon. But
yeah, they're just playing soft, not letting anything over the top. But Gabe, to my point earlier on, go back to the wide copy. Look at how New York is using the whole field.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see more of, because it keeps them. What it does is it keeps a defense and DBs and linebackers uncomfortable because there's so much space. When you tighten it up, they feel a little safer because it's bunched up. Even though they may be running the right route, defensive players do not like space. They don't like space between receivers. They don't like things spread out. They like things condensed. So that's just a little coaching point there. So looks like they're playing the same coverage.
Yeah, single high. And they just blow the coverage.
That's just too much of a gap. Yeah, up top. Which is strange, because if you look down below, Ballantyne, one of the Ballantyne brothers, is much tighter.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a Joe Barry. That's a Joe Barry technical problem there.
And then we'll just quickly take a look at the big one. This is the one that broke the Packers back, got the Giants in field goal range, and eventually just had them sit on the football. With Keyshawn Nixon going to be the key man here, as he's the one who gets beat on this play.
Yeah, he's just peeking in the backfield. I don't know why, because if you look in the backfield, clearly it's man-to-man. There's no run threat here. He's not responsible for spying the quarterback or anything like that. Why he's peeking in the backfield, I have no idea. But once again, that falls on coaching. The only thing he should be looking at, he's not responsible for the quarterback running. You're just responsible for that single man. Your 100% focus should be on him. It's horrible technique, and you should never put a guy like that. And that receiver is just a guy. That's nothing special.
Yeah, that wasn't like a special route or anything.
It's not a special route or a special player. I mean, you got to make that play. But that goes back to knowing your personnel. Don't put him in that type of position. That lost them the game right there. That defensive series. So,
and hopefully they fix that upcoming, but it could be tough. We'll find out more about the injuries as the week goes along and the weekend. But Chew, always appreciate you giving your football insights to the fans who are looking for a little bit more.
All right, anytime, buddy.